Hey folks, this is Rhykker with a guide on everything that you need to know about Diablo 4 Season 5, what the best leveling method is, and basically just how to get the best out of the season. Season 5 started yesterday. I ended my play session at level 94. I could have hit 100 if I was playing more seriously and not just goofing around, having fun and experimenting with stuff, but Season 5 is by far the fastest you will hit level 100. Partially because of a little oopsie that the devs let slip. We'll get to that. Now, first off, if you didn't play Season 4, then there's a lot of new mechanics to the game, and we're not going to rehash them here. You got to go check out my Season 4 Ultimate Guide that explains the new tempering, crafting mechanic, tormented bosses, masterworking, greater affixes, because in this video, I'm going to assume that you know what all of that is. Also, standard disclaimer, the advice I give here is how to optimize your play, but at the end of the day, do what is fun for you. Okay, on to business. First tip. What world tier should you start on? World tier 2. World tier 1 does not exist anymore. It is dead to us. There is so much power creep in the game now that world tier 1 is obsolete. Should you skip the campaign? People keep asking me this. For efficiency, yes. There's no benefit to doing the campaign. It's a great campaign, definitely play it once at least to experience it. And if you want to do it again just for fun, again, you do you, but it's not efficient. Once you are in-game, you got a couple things that you're going to want to tackle right away. First off, go to the wardrobe. You're going to go equip a pet. Yes, we all get a free cosmetic pet. If you don't have it unlocked yet, there's like, in town in Kyovashad, you're going to see a little quest to get a pet. You just talk to a dog or something, it's fine. Free cosmetic pet. Why do you want this? The pet will go around and pick up gold, materials, Helltide cinders. It's a huge quality of life thing. It's like the pet in Diablo 3 if you played Diablo 3. If you didn't, you definitely want this. It's gonna save you time as well because you don't have to move out of your way to go pick up all these things, and these little micro time wastes over the course of 100 levels adds up to minutes and minutes and minutes. Next thing you're going to want to do is start the seasonal quest line. It's going to be marked with a little green leaf on the map, wherever it might be, and you want to start the seasonal quest line up until the point that you unlock the reputation track. The reputation track looks like this over here. By defeating tough monsters, you're going to earn reputation, and you're going to progressively unlock rewards. And you're going to want to cash in these rewards generally as soon as possible. Or at least don't deliberately hold off on opening them later on. This is another question I get asked a lot, like, oh, should I hold on to my rewards? No, do not hold on to your rewards. They do not scale with your level. They are a fixed level reward, meaning you benefit the most from each reward the moment they are available to you. The more you level up, the more you out-level the usefulness of the rewards. Now, it is possible actually to progress so fast that you aren't even able to equip some of the gear that you're getting from the rewards. In that case, you can hold off on your turn-ins for a bit. Progression of the seasonal quest line is also locked behind reputation tiers, which you can see here, again, right in this menu. Now, when should you move on to World Tier 3 and then World Tier 4? Well, let's talk about the changes in Season 5 that change this answer. First off, previously, you did not really benefit from defeating monsters more than 10 levels above you, because there was an XP cap on extra XP you get for higher level monsters. That level cap in Season 5 has been extended to 30 levels, from 10 to 30 levels, so assuming you are powerful enough to not struggle against these monsters, you now benefit tremendously from taking on monsters up to 30 levels higher than you. World Tier 3, monsters are minimum level 55, and in World Tier 4, they're minimum level 75. So, theoretically, if you can thrive in World Tier 3 as a level 25 character, go for it. Or, if you're a level 45 character and you can thrive in World Tier 4, go for it. Easier said than done, though, unless you played Season 4. So, Season 4 introduced tempering, and tempering recipes. And due to a bug in Season 5, we started Season 5 with all of our Season 4 tempering recipes still unlocked. The devs have confirmed that this was unintended, but they will let it slide this season, but not for next season. So next season and in the future, we're going to have to refarm the tempering recipes as intended, but for now, we can benefit, and this is honestly the only fair thing that they could have done, because if they fixed this after it was discovered, then all the people who benefited from using it would have an unfair advantage over everyone else, so This is just what's most fair. And the result is it's going to be faster to level up in Season 5 than ever. So why is that? Why is tempering so good? Well, at low level, high level tempering recipes are incredibly powerful. 2 in particular. Here's what you're going to want to do. On your helm, your amulet, and your pants, you're going to want to add the defensive worldly endurance temper, and you want to aim for life. Even a single 500 max life roll at low level, that's like doubling your life. If you get 4 of those, that's 2,000 life right there. You're never gonna die. And then for offense, what you want is on your weapons. Each of your weapons, you're gonna get the weapon temper elemental surge. Chance to deal whatever damage. It doesn't matter what element. 4,000 damage chance on a lucky hit. Now barbarians benefit the most from this because they have 4 weapons that they can stack this on. 4,000 damage at low level is incredible. Basically, all you gotta do is keep hitting monsters until the lucky hit triggers and then they get defeated. It's as simple as that. If you get all those tempers on, you're not even gonna have to look at gear again basically until World Tier 4. Because whatever upgrades you might find as drops, what is it gonna get you, like 10 more life? You're not gonna swap out a temper that has 500 life on it for 10 more life. Or a couple more damage when you're dealing 4,000 lucky hit damage. So if you have all these tempers, you can do the World Tier 3 capstone starting at level 20. You're gonna get enough XP during the capstone to basically finish the capstone around level 25, so you're gonna go into World Tier 3 at level 25. If, however, you do not have tempers unlocked, I'd wait until level 35 to do the capstone, because at level 35 is when you can start to equip Sacred Gear, which starts to drop in World Tier 3. Then the World Tier 4 capstone, that one's trickier. The strength of those tempers won't carry you easily through the World Tier 4 capstone. The higher level you go, the less significant 4,000 damage is, and the less significant the, 500 life is. We tried to do the World Tier 4 capstone on level 40. It was a real struggle, and it was not worth the time. That was a mistake we made. That said, you do want to be in World Tier 4 by level 55, because that's when you can start equipping Ancestral Gear, and Ancestral Gear drops in World Tier 4. This is regardless of your temper situation. World Tier 4 by level 55, that's the aim. Anytime a higher tier of gear is available to you, you want to be equipping that as soon as possible. Especially a weapon. It represents such a big increase in your power. So again, Sacred Gear level 35, Ancestral level 55, World Tier 3, World Tier 4. By World Tier 4, that's when your damage tempers are really going to be falling off. Now, a good build with good uniques or synergistic aspects, that will outperform the temper tricks I just outlined. And you might even want to, depending on what build you're aiming to run, you might want to go out and farm specifically for uniques or aspects that'll help you out. But if you don't yet have good gear, then those tempers will still get you by, but their effectiveness fades very fast. Okay, now, next question is, what is the fastest way to level? That's the #1 question I keep getting asked over and over. 2 options here, really. In short, Helltide until level 50, then Nightmare Dungeons until 100, or Helltides until you can do Infernal Hordes, then Infernal Hordes until you can do Ancestral Nightmare Dungeons. So let's start with Helltide, because that's what we start with regardless. Helltide, it's up for 55 minutes, down for 5 minutes, up for 55, etc. During Helltide, you want to be completing the Whispers within it. You can get a full round of Whispers done, and then you hold off on turning them in until Helltide is done, or almost done. We'll explain in a bit. Basically, you want to be maximizing the amount of time you are spending within Helltide, and Whispers will be your main source of gold. Then, while running Helltide, you want to hold off on spending your Cinders until there's about 20 to 25 minutes left in the Helltide. Why? When you spend the Cinders to open a chest, the reward is scaled based on your level. The longer you wait, the higher level you will be, and therefore the greater your reward. Also, the Blood Maiden in Helltide, you want to hold off on that as well as long as possible, because she's a very tough fight at low level. If you don't have a lot of people around you, or higher level people to carry, and you don't have any OP tempers especially, this fight can take forever. Of course, if you see other people are summoning the Blood Maiden and they are just, a bunch of high level dudes and they can carry, obviously stick around. If you can leech Blood Maiden, obviously that's the, a great thing to do. Now, once you've completed all the Whispers and you've turned in all your Cinders, at that point you can move on to getting other business out of the way until the next Helltide.
You technically don't have to wait all the way until Helltide is done. Basically, once your Whispers and Cinders are done, assuming, there's only maybe 10 minutes left or something, you could leave prematurely, because there is some business that you'll want to get done. Your priority order should be, first off, Class Quest. That unlocks for most classes at level 15, Necros at 25. Get that done. Priority 2 should be Seasonal Quest unlock. You're gonna go turn in your reputation, cash in your reputation rewards, and see if there's another seasonal quest to do, because again, they are locked behind your reputation progression. After that, third priority is dungeons to unlock aspects that you are sure you will need. Don't just go unlock aspects for the sake of it. Unlock aspects that will benefit you and ideally benefit you immediately. So, again, method 1 is basically levels 1 to 50, you are doing Helltide, and then 50 plus, you're doing Nightmare Dungeons. And part of the reason you want to wait until 50 for Nightmare Dungeons is because you cannot get Glyph XP before level 50. Nightmare Dungeons will still be better XP than Helltide, but you can't get Glyph XP. And sigils cost. You don't have an infinite amount of sigils, so you want to actually use sigils only when you're getting the full benefit out of Nightmare Dungeons, which is starting level 50. Now, ideally, you want to be fighting monsters that are up to 30 levels higher than you, that you will not be struggling against. This is about time efficiency. If you can do 30 levels higher than you, but you're constantly dying, it takes forever to defeat monsters, or, even worse, you actually fail the Nightmare Dungeon altogether. This is not time efficient. Drop the difficulty. Nightmare Dungeons are an excellent source of XP, and the only source of Glyph XP. You will need to do Nightmare Dungeons, and a lot of them, at some point, to level up your Glyphs to max. Glyphs are a huge part of your power. So while you're leveling up your Glyph XP, you might as well be getting regular XP along the way too. And the best XP in Nightmare Dungeons is from the little side events. Do not ignore these. Okay, so again, method 1 was Helltide to Nightmare Dungeon. Method 2 was to put Infernal Hordes in the middle. What are the Infernal Hordes? This is a new game mode. You access the Infernal Hordes via compasses. In order to start getting compasses to drop, you need to have completed the seasonal quest line. There are multiple tiers of compasses, there's up to 8. Each represents a significant jump in difficulty above the previous. Tier 1 compass, monsters at level 55, that's World Tier 3. Tier 2, we're in World Tier 4, monster level 75. A Tier 3 compass, monster level 100. Tier 4 is 120, and it keeps going up all the way to Tier 8. You can upgrade a tier of a compass using an Abyssal Scroll, which you can get as drops or as rewards. Now, Infernal Hordes are full of high density of monsters. They're coming at you real fast. You're getting tons of XP, and you're also getting a ton of Mother's Gift, that's the reputation, because they're throwing a lot of elite enemies at you. Now, since the PTR, Infernal Hordes have been buffed tremendously, making them rewarding in both XP and loot. You get your loot at the end. Basically, you're fighting waves of enemies. Lots of events spawn while you're fighting these waves. You want to keep an eye on your minimap. You want to react to those events. If you want to maximize your reward, go react to those events. Definitely complete them. Then between waves, you're going to get offered a choice. Pick one of 3 options here. Each one giving you a boon and a bane. So something that helps you and something that makes the run tougher. And these will apply for the rest of your Infernal Hordes run. In general, your goal here is to maximize the amount of ether that you are getting to drop, because that is the resource you use at the end to cash in your rewards. If you find yourself struggling, however, you may opt for a boon that buffs you, or otherwise just a less risky reward if you think you can't handle it. After the final wave, you have a boss fight, and after the boss fight, then you can spend your ether on various rewards. You can pick between materials, gold, equipment, or there's a spoil of greater equipment, and that's only available in World Tier 4, and that's going to be the best one to opt for. If you're lacking gold or materials, of course, you can go for these, but the Infernal Hordes is the best deterministic way to farm a set of new unique items that have been added in Season 5. And the spoil of greater equipment guarantees you a drop with a greater affix. Not a unique drop necessarily, but you're going to get a legendary or unique item with a greater affix. So I would advise, whenever you can, go for the greater spoil. Now, you can run Tier 1 Infernal Hordes between your World Tier 3 and World Tier 4 journey. Once you hit World Tier 4, your Tier 1 compasses are basically going to be useless, so you might as well profit from them while you can. They're also not worth spending Abyssal Scrolls on to upgrade to Tier 2, because you're going to easily find higher tier compasses just running Nightmare Dungeons. and scrolls are a pretty rare resource. Now you can also salvage and craft compasses as well. That's at the occultist, where you would be crafting your Nightmare Dungeon sigils. However, once you can run World Tier 4 Nightmare Dungeons, that's where you should be moving to. So your opportunity really to benefit from Infernal Hordes, if you want to squeeze it in, again, is before you're able to comfortably farm World Tier 4 Nightmare Dungeons. You can always revisit Infernal Hordes just for fun, of course, or if you want to try to target farm some of those uniques, or, you know, if you somehow manage to max out your Glyph XP before you reach level 100, you can finish leveling up in Infernal Hordes. Otherwise, Infernal Hordes is something you're going to basically wait to be level 100 for, and that, you know, when you're basically just farming out your gear and trying to finish up your reputation. What about pits, you ask? Wait for level 100, then do pits. Or at least wait to be maxed out on your glyphs. Pits is really an endgame thing. Pits is what you need to get masterworking materials, and, well, technically I guess you can get masterworking materials in the Infernal Hordes now, but again, you don't want to be buying them there, you want to be buying the greater spoils from the Infernal Hordes. But masterworking is something you really only start doing when, you know, your gear is like 925, gear that you think you're going to hold on to for a very long time, you're not going to replace in another hour of play. What about world bosses? Well, about every 3 hours a world boss spawns. In Season 5, world bosses take a lot longer to kill, because they have some new resilience mechanic added. I've done a few world bosses, and between low level and high level, every time it takes about 4 to 5 minutes to take down the world boss. And I'm not sure they are worth the time. Now, this is a stark contrast to how fast they went down previously. I previously recommended that whenever a world boss is up, you do it. At this point, I'd say just do it once to get your daily reward cache and your daily bounty. If you're not getting a bounty or reward cache, I don't think they're worth going out of your way for. At the very least, not until you're high level and the world boss is in a struggle. Oh, quick note about elixirs. Always have an elixir running. Doesn't matter which one, they all give a small bonus to XP. That's going to help you get to level 100 a little bit faster. Also, as you progress along the free battle pass, you will unlock season blessings. Here's how you want to spend them. First off, max out the Urn of Aggression for more XP. Once you're level 100, you don't need that anymore. Next, you want to get the Urn of Nightmares. That's for more Nightmare Dungeon Glyph XP. Once your glyphs are maxed, you don't need that anymore, of course. Next, you want the Urn of the Blessed Mother. This will progress your reputation faster. Once your reputation is maxed, you don't need that anymore. And then between the last two, I would recommend first to get the Urn of Spoils to increase your odds of getting legendaries in the Infernal Hordes, and then you get the Urn of Abyssal Knowledge, which increases your odds of getting scrolls. Earlier in the season, you need legendaries more than you need scrolls. Scrolls are just increasing the difficulty, which is something that you'll want to do once you have a good amount of legendaries and are ready to take on a greater challenge. Now, lastly, we'll talk about the season journey. I got the first 2 chapters done without really going out of my way for them. I personally don't feel like these are worth going out of your way for. It's good to get them done eventually. They do have some useful stuff in them. If you can get them done without interrupting the flow of what you're doing, of what I've outlined here, great, but otherwise, I really wouldn't bother unless you find yourself struggling, right? If you feel like, oh man, like my gear is bad, I don't know what to do, I guess knock out some season journey and hope to get rewards that'll buff you. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother. And I think that about covers everything, folks. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments below or come by my stream. Also, leave your Season 5 tips in the comments for others. And if you're still undecided on what class to pick, check out my class tier list video. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my supporters. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to join Rhykkers Raiders for more Diablo content.